Good afternoon. Welcome to the February 25th meeting of Hardin County Fiscal Court. I'd remind you this is a voting meeting. If you have cell phones, please turn them off or put them in vibrate mode. We'll begin with roll call, if you would, Ms. Donnelly.
Easter.
Here.
Doug Goodman.
Here.
Boone. Here. Clem.
Here.
Wiseman.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Ronnie Goodman. King.
Here.
Judge Barry.
Here. Mr. Thompson will lead us in the invocation, and Ms. Boone in the pledge. If you'll please stand.
I invite you to pray with me. Father God, we just praise you and thank you for this day, a day when we're reminded of your presence by the gentle mist of rain that strikes us as we walk. Lord, you're in everything on this earth, and we praise you and thank you for that. Lord, we thank you for those who are gathered here today. We pray a blessing on all who are gathered here, Lord. We thank you for the privilege of serving as servants in this community. We pray blessings upon our work, and we pray for your wisdom and guidance as we deal with the business of this county. Father, bless us as we move through this meeting, that in everything we do and anything that we say, Lord God, you would be glorified. Thank you, Father, for being with us no matter who we are, no matter what goes on in our lives. Lord, you have such grace and mercy that you forgive us when we fail you and when we do things even against you. And we pray, Father, that you'll just continue to dwell with us and guide us as we work to serve you in this community. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll begin this afternoon with informational items. First up, item 2A is acknowledgement of Hardin County's recent audit for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2019. That was included in the information that was sent out to you on Friday. I would note that it is an unqualified opinion. In the audit world, it's often referred to as a clean audit. And we just have to acknowledge that it is in the minutes that we have received it. So if you would note that for the minutes, Ms. Donnelly. We'll move on to item 2B, which is the Hardin County Water District Number 1's annual presentation. We have with us today Stephen Hogan.
Good afternoon, Judge Barry and members of the Magistrate. Again, my name is Stephen Hogan. I'm the General Manager for Hardin County Water District Number 1. I've been in this position all of 2 years now. Time flies when you're having fun. I do have today our Board Secretary, Ron Hogan. I also have members of my staff here, Daniel Clifford, our Engineering Manager, Justin Metz, our County Systems Manager, Nora Jocking, our Executive Assistant, and Scott Schmuck, our Finance Director. So with that, let's talk a little bit about Hardin County District 1. Here we go. A couple of the board actions we had this year for 2019, or the past year. We did authorize over $6 million for the Radcliffe Sewer projects, and as you're aware, this is part of the $9.6 million BRAC grant. So we're almost finished expending those funds for the benefit of the city of Radcliffe. We did pass a resolution honoring Charles Williams for his retirement after 21 years with the district. Charles was originally started as a meter reader, worked his way into a customer service representative. We've added a new workforce ready system, timekeeping HR program by the name of Kronos. We have realized a good bit of time savings in just the simple fact of processing payroll. We We also passed the franchise fee with the City of Radcliffe, and that's where the City of Radcliffe can collect a percentage of our, based on our receipts of sales to help them with their obligations. We've awarded the contract for two 1.5 million gallon elevated water storage tanks at Fort Knox. These will increase the pressure and the water quality at the fort. We're probably coming close to 7 years in the progress to get this far. And as of this date, the first tank is approximately 60 feet tall. They'll pour a concrete section up the middle and then build the metal bowl on the ground and jack it up to the top. Total height of the concrete will be about 120 feet. If you ever get a chance to see it, let us know. We'd be glad to show those off to you. A couple of other things, we did approve 2 additional paid holidays for staff. We now recognize Veterans Day as a full day and Good Friday as a full day. So we'll talk a little bit about the system and some of our capital improvements. For 2019, we completed almost a little over $10 million worth of work. Some of those things for the county system, $1.7 million. 2 of those are the interconnection with District 2 along Patriot Parkway. That'll allow us to take water from District 2, and sometime in the future there will be an opportunity to send it back the other way. In the Radcliffe, again, as I mentioned, we did over $6 million. We were working on things like pump station replacements, force main upgrades. So now we are to the point that we feel like we can keep it all in the pipe. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Fort Knox wastewater, about $1.4 million. Those were some improvements in line work and also at Camp Carlson. In our Fort Knox stormwater, a little over $250,000. Those are general storm drain improvements and small projects. So what we've got going forward in 2020, we have nearly $24 million worth of work, as I mentioned before. The 2 water tanks. We are looking forward to starting construction on our Muldrow water treatment plant sometime in July and August. We're having to time it with the arrival and completion of cadet summer training. So that takes some finesse to get those things done. So in capital water design, we have $1.4 million. Radcliffe wastewater, and this will be the balance of the 9.6 grant. We are finishing up a Seminole Road force main. We're adding to our SCADA system, which we'll be able to monitor remotely, as opposed to just a little red flashing light to let us know that something's wrong. We'll be able to monitor it in real time. Fort Knox wastewater, we will be working on some of the plant improvements. We have a project that we've identified most recently with the 1997 plant originally was built. Some of the metallic portions within the wastewater have now corroded. We're moving forward to replace those to last another 25 to 30 years. And again, another $400,000 in the stormwater projects. Overall, in capital design, as I mentioned, nearly $14 million of the $18 million will be part of the Muldrow treatment plant rehabilitation. On completion, they'll be able to produce approximately 7 million gallons for the fort. Looking at some of the things that we've achieved this past year, we call it Standards of Excellence. A number of our members have achieved individual awards, but we at Pearl Springs achieved the Award of Excellence for the American Water Works, Kentucky, Tennessee. There you see some of our operators displaying the award. Additionally, the county distribution system received the Award of Excellence from the AWWA. And then members of our Fort Knox wastewater plant received the Operational Excellence Awards as well from the WEA, that's the Water and Environment Association. As part of, again, the wastewater plant at Radcliffe, operational excellence. So we've hit all 5 utilities with some level of award. And as most recently as last week, we were awarded or chosen as one of Kentucky's best places to work. This is the 2nd year in a row. To give you an idea, the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, the Kentucky Society for Human Resource Management, and Clear Path Mutual Insurance Company, we filled out a questionnaire. Each individual employee was given the opportunity to go online and submit confidentially to this group to make this recommendation. And as a financial note, just as FYI, we received our surveillance rating from Moody's most recently, and we are considered AA3 for our bond rating. And that comes into good stead with our RD loans and so forth for the bond recommendations. Looking at our budget for the approved, you see the amounts there. Those are somewhat small, but we have an operations budget total of $15,495,136. You can see the funds in the divisions there. This is the breakout for the different divisions. The 2020 continuing operations includes only, I'm sorry, lost that one. In 2014, the continuing ops was only 43% of the operations budget. Wages and benefits are about 33.6 of the total budget due to the increase of the health insurance and the pension liabilities. And we took over operations of Fort Knox wastewater and, Fort Knox operations, self-operated in 2017. So the 2020 operational revenue, we're looking at $18,164,252. We'll see an increase from the 2018 budget by about 30%. And again, what we're looking at is the increased usage of Fort Knox. The troop strength or the cadet command is bringing in more people at any given time. We're also selling 100% of Meade County's water. We started operations to them back last year. We have seen an increase in flow to Meade County, so they are booming as we are as well. Rising tide floats all boats, so that's a good thing for us. Again, as I mentioned, the current grant and capital funding for District 1, the Radcliffe wastewater collection system has about $800,000 remaining in the 9.6 grant, and then we had $55,000 of monies from the government for the Camp Carlson rebuild. So with that, I will entertain any questions.
Who's the artist?
That was a caricature taken of me back in Georgia at one of the conferences. Little did I know that it was being done, but
It's followed you up, followed you up the road, Ed.
followed me up the road here. Followed me up the road.
If I may, I believe it was 3 or 4 years ago, we were in the process of connecting with the city of Louisville
Yes.
to receive water from the city of Louisville. Are we completely integrated with them now? Can we receive?
Yes, that is correct. We have a pump station outside of West Point. That project was completed, I believe, late of 2018. We were able to effectively bring about 3.5 million gallons out of the Louisville water system to supplement the county system, the District 1 system.
Our entire system?
It
I'm
can
talking
be.
about Fort Knox, Meade.
Correct. We can direct that water in whatever
direction we
wherever the
need.
need be.
Okay. I was just thinking, with the warm winter, if it continues to get warmer, summer may be warm this year.
Correct. Don't want to issue that ugly word, but there is
Yeah.
potential for having a warm
Yeah.
summer.
And with the increase in the number of people who are going to be on post, well, their usage is going to be up also.
Correct as well.
So I think it's probably a good thing that there was some foresight.
And one of the other projects we are in design with, we're looking at expanding a portion of our Pearl Spring plant. It's a small increase. We're occupying the fourth filter, as it were. So that'll give us another 500,000 gallons of production within Pearl Spring. As mentioned, we can take approximately 3.5 million additional gallons from Louisville Water Company. We're currently negotiating with District 2 for the potential of maybe 3 million gallons from District 2 to supplement the District 1 customers and Fort Knox. With the completion of the Muldrow plant, they will be able to produce 7 million gallons total. We also have agreements in place that should we need, we could pull from that facility as well for the county.
Now, when you say 3.5 million to me, it's kind of like the federal budget, talking the federal budget to me when we're talking about trillions. 3.5 million gallons of water would last how long if we had no other source?
If we had no other source, it would not quite meet a full demand day during the heat of summer.
Right.
Now, during the off-peak, like we are now, it more than covers our daily demand.
So 3.5 million gallons from the city of Louisville. We can get that amount per day, per week, per what?
That's usually a daily.
That's a daily amount
Figure.
we could supplement our system with.
In addition to what we produce or could pull from District 2,
Could be.
or Fort Knox for that matter, when complete.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Anyone else? Well, we certainly appreciate the great job you're doing, and I really appreciate the grants, the BRAC grants, getting close to being done.
Yes, it was. Very good.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Hardin County Water District Number 2. We have Amber Pike and Shaun Youravich.
Good afternoon, Judge Barry, members of the court. I'm Shaun Youravich, Operations Manager for Hardin County Water District Number 2. With me is Amber Pike. She's Administrative Finance Manager. Also present is Chairman Mike Bell. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here today and share some of the things that we're doing at the Water District with you today. Amber and I will be presenting today. We'll share information about some of the current projects we're working on, future projects. Amber will provide information on the budget, and then we'll close with some highlights that we've seen in the district this past year. So first I want to start with projects, some of our major projects that are underway. First one is our Glendale Sewer Project. And last year at this time, we were in the midst of construction, and we have since pretty much completed that project. The project was split into 4 contracts. Contract 1 and 2 have been final, and contract 3 and 4 are both substantially complete and should have final completion within the upcoming weeks. We were able to secure or get rates approved through the Public Service Commission this past year. And of course, sewer billing is based on the amount of water that the customer uses through the domestic meter. So our rates are a minimum of $30 per month, and that includes the first 2,000 gallons, and then it's $10 for every 1,000 gallons after that. We also had some fees that are approved. For instance, there's a $100 connection fee. This pays for our inspection of the customer's connection to our collection system, as well as the administrative process of adding a customer into our system. And then there's also a fee that is passed on through to the city of Elizabethtown, and that is a capacity fee, and it varies based on the domestic meter size, but the standard residential meter or customer could expect a $500 fee there, And again, that's a one-time fee for the first-time connection passed through to the city. We are actually collecting sewer now, and the system is actually up and running. We've had 39 customers that have signed up originally, and about 15 of those have connected to date. And we actually have most of the commercial customers, particularly around the interchange area, and then some in downtown Glendale itself. Of course, the main focus of this project was to bring infrastructure to the industrial site in Glendale, and we can now say that has successfully been completed, and there is sewer infrastructure there to serve the industrial site. The next project is our downtown, what we call our downtown tank project. The purpose of this project is to replace 2 of the 3 aging water tanks in the downtown pressure zone with a modern composite style tank. Both tanks that we're replacing, one of them is the Helmwood tank, which is behind the hospital. The other is our Mulberry tank, which is next to Elizabethtown High School. Both tanks were built in the 50s and have exceeded their service life. Recent inspections show that they are in need of some significant repairs. So we're moving forward with replacing with the tank. Part of that project will also include the installation of about 15,000 feet of 12-inch water main that would run from about the area of the city of Elizabethtown High School over to Hardin Memorial. And that will replace some aging infrastructure as well as reinforce the area, the path that line takes. Project is estimated to cost about $4.5 million, and that will come out of district reserves. We are searching for and have been searching for a proper place to build the tank, and we feel like we're getting close, and hopefully we'll have something secured in the next couple of months, at which time design will then take place on this project. Our north-south connector, which Stephen spoke about, is our connection that will allow a large volume of water to transfer from, at this time, District 2 to District 1. And we actually constructed this in 2 phases. Back in 2013 or 2012, we started phase 1. Last year, 2019, we started and finished phase 2. Overall, we constructed and installed 26,000 feet of 16-inch ductile iron main in the right-of-way on Patriot Parkway, down Patriot Parkway corridor. And so not only does this line provide additional service to District 1 at the time, eventually you can provide water back with the addition of a pump station, but it also reinforces our distribution system down the Patriot Parkway corridor. Project was all done in-house on our side, and a little over $800,000 material cost, again, money that comes out of district reserves. Project on our end is complete with, will be with the addition of some SCADA installation, but we'll soon be flowing water through that pipeline within the upcoming weeks. Another project I want to touch on is our City Springs upgrade project. This is an upgrade at our city treatment plant. Purpose of this project is to replace source water pumping facilities. Some of the facilities that age back nearly 100 years old. It will bring all sources together to one new pumping facility. It will also eliminate an on-site reservoir, which has been the source of some taste and odor issues. So we'll be happy to eliminate that. Project is estimated at about $2.5 million and is actually out for bid at this time. Again, those funds will come out of district reserves. We'll be opening bids next month. And assuming the bids come in favorably, we will be under construction with this project by midsummer. Our customer service center, we have people ask from time to time, what are we going to do with the Remington property that we purchased? And we still, the intent when we purchased that property was to relocate our current facility to that site, and that is still the intent. You can see the area outlined in yellow is our current campus, which sits on 7.9 acres, and we have no room to grow. We've outgrown the inside of the building, we've outgrown the parking, the crew construction area of the facility, And so we have very intent of moving across the street to the 23-acre site. We've been evaluating multiple options on how to construct and what to construct and how to use that site. And what we're leaning towards at this time is basically building a new campus on the back side of the property, which means that our customer service center will face Westport Road, and entrances would then be off Westport Road. This option will allow us to carve off Ring Road frontage and then have that property available for resale. We've been working with Jenkins and Essex through a design-build process, and our intent is to hopefully be under construction sometime this year. And then the last project I'd like to touch on is what we're calling the Miracle Mile water main replacement. And there is a section which is right at a mile long on Dixie Highway, which extends from Lowe's Center to Kentaury Automotive. And there's an 8-inch cast iron main that was installed back in the 60s, which has been giving us some problems this past year. We've had a few main breaks on that. And of course, when that line is out of service, it affects a lot of commercial businesses. And the repairs are not easy. In fact, the majority of that line is in areas where excavation is over 24 feet deep to get to the line. So our intent is to replace that line with the construction crew in-house. Estimated cost is about $260,000 out of our reserves. And the project's currently under design, and our hope is to have that construction start later on this year. Just to give a little update on some technology upgrades that we've worked on this past year. We've been working with multiple software vendors to improve our mapping, improve or add asset management software, also billing software. Amber and her group have been working very hard converting over 28,000 water accounts and nearly 14,000 sewer accounts and all of their history into the new billing software. And, they are now in the final testing portion of that project, and hope to go live with that system here in the next couple of months. If you've been on our website over the past 6 to 8 months, you'll notice that we completely redid and rebuilt our website. We've added a lot of features to the site, customer-friendly features. Things that used to require coming into the office or making a phone call to the office can now be done online. And our intent is to add to those, increase the features, continue to add as we move in to make some of the software live. We'll improve some of those features. One item that customers may be able to look forward to is if a customer happens to be out of water, we'll be able to go to our website, look at a map, and determine if we're doing maintenance in the area, if we have a main breaking area, or flushing, and things of that nature. So we continue to add that, excited about that technology that we're adding. Go ahead and ask Amber to come up and present the budget information.
Judge, Magistrates, thank you for having us this afternoon. For the 2020 budget, I'm going the wrong direction. Let me get straightened out here. Okay, there we go. The 2020 budget highlights a few of the things that we expect to occur this year. In 2019, as you know, we had a very hot, dry summer that drove water sales up and increased the average water demand and water revenue. So in 2020, we expect that average weather will probably bring that water usage and the revenue in relation back down to the normal range. Purchased water continues to be one of our highest expenditures for the year. County retirement is also, we're not alone in experiencing the high increases that county retirement has added to our bottom line at the end of the year, so we all kind of know how that works out. Looking at the operating margin trends, we can just see a picture of what that all looks like. So revenue, although it continues to climb with residual growth in the county, we have experienced expenses that have grown, purchased water being the driver of that. Labor costs, that line you can see where the CERS county retirement has made its mark on that line. And the margin for the last few years has dipped in relation to all of those things. As a matter of fact, the county retirement, if you look at the chart that shows the expenditures that have been mandated by the state on contributions for employers for the last few years, just looking at the last 10 years, from 2010 to 2020, we have increased 16.93% to 26.95%. Is what is mandated by the state for employers to contribute to the retirement fund. For the district, that equates just from 2018 to 2019. That's just that year was almost $300,000. So that's a pretty big hit that we've all experienced. Purchased water. If you look at the top right chart, the yellow, or I'm sorry, the orange bars indicate the amount of the purchase price per 1,000 gallons. So the purchased water that we're buying from Louisville Water is on the trend that you can see the orange bars following. However, the gallons purchased is in the blue. So the purchase price is far outpacing. It's growing much faster than the amount of quantity that we're taking. And that quantity will continue to increase until next year when we top out at 1 million gallons per day. But what that means to our revenue and to our bottom line, you can see in the bottom left quadrant, which shows in 2017, our purchased water expense was $280,000. Up 308 to 388,000 just 2 years later. So it begs the question, which is a very logical question, why would you buy that water if it's so expensive versus making that water? And that's totally logical when you look at the fact that purchased water is $2.47 per thousand versus produced water is 85 cents per thousand. And that's a very logical question to ask, and the answer is very simple, which is the pace that Hardin County has grown and is continuing to grow is faster than the prediction of the sources that we have. So we predict that in a very short amount of time, the source water that we have will not be able to sustain the growth that Hardin County has been accustomed to. In the planning process, a few things that we look at. One very important tool that we use is our reserve accounts. In our reserve accounts this year, we plan to fund the downtown tank, the City Springs rehab, the 315 Green Road facility, the infrastructure and the upgrade and maintenance of the infrastructure that we have currently, and the north-south connector, which will connect us to the District 1 project that Shaun and Stephen both have mentioned earlier. So in the planning and maintenance growth, the whole process, there are a few things to consider also. One tool that we use also is the 20-year capital plan. The District 2 currently has about $100 million in infrastructure in operation, which includes our plants and our underground facilities and pipe. One interesting thing is the district, and I've just learned recently, the district, Hardin County Water District Number 2 was founded in the late 1960s. When we acquired the city of Elizabethtown in 2014, that was a system that was founded in the late 1890s. So our average age of our infrastructure increased dramatically. And the Public Service Commission, which is what we're regulated by the Public Service Commission also, uses the NARUC schedule to determine useful life. And supply mains and to the NARIC schedule are useful for about 50 to 70 years. So as we go and as we continue to grow, not only is the average age of our infrastructure gaining, but the useful life is getting nearer and nearer. So that's a very big issue when we're taking into consideration our 20-year capital plan and our maintenance and upgrade. Also, as we grow and as our service area grows, we are literally busting at the seams as far as our facility is concerned. And it's also pretty small, but our customer base, in 2013, we've grown from 17,000 customers, water customers, in 2013 to 2019, we had over 28,000 water customers and almost 13,000 sewer billing customers, 41,000 total. In 2020, we're also adding our own sewer division, so that's growing even more. Our employee base, of course, has grown to take care of our customer base. So we went from in 2013 we had 47 customers, 2019 we had 81 employees, I'm sorry. Our fleet has also increased. We have more trucks on the road to take care of our customers that we have. 2013 we had 25 trucks in operation, and in 2019 we have 40. So as we're growing, as we're increasing, as we're taking on more customers, our to-do list, double our customers, check. Nearly double our employees, check. Increase our fleet by at least 50%, check. But increase our operating facility is still on the horizon. So in 2020, that's one of the things that we anticipate will continue to go on as we go. Back up a little bit. Common goals. Hardin County Water District number 2 is with the county. The recent reports show that Hardin County is one of the fastest growing counties as far as short-term, help me out with this. You guys have this? What's the word I'm looking for, Shaun? You can help me. No, you can't.
No help, please.
Startup, there you go.
There you go.
Startup growth. So Hardin County is one of the fastest growing counties as far as startup growth, and that's in the middle chart that you see there. Top right is residents coming into the county. So residents are coming into Hardin County faster than they're going out. They're coming into Hardin County faster than the other county. So we're continuing to grow, and the district is preparing for that goal. So the common goal is that we are all strengthening the district, strengthening the foundation of this county, and the water that sustains the county. So as we continue to go forward, that's the goal, that's priority number 1.
Just a few other things to hit on real quick, to be brief. One of the things that I want to talk about is brag a little bit about our employees. Both of our treatment plants and our distribution system are considered a Class 4 system. It's the highest class in the state of Kentucky, and it requires employees who are also certified to operate these facilities. Of course, getting the certification is not easy. It's not an easy process. It requires a certain amount of education, a certain amount of experience, as well as testing from the Kentucky Division of Water. At our treatment plants, we currently have 17 employees who are certified. All but 2 have the highest certifications available or possible. And then in our distribution system, we have 23 employees who are also certified. And in fact, if you, between District 1, District 2, City of Elizabethtown Sewer, Hardin County in the state is one of the counties that has the most certified operators in the state. So I think that says a lot about how our employees are dedicated to the industry, dedicated to the community. Shows how the districts are dedicated to educating our employees and also our dedication to the community. Of course, with dedicated employees, it gives you opportunities to receive, I guess, awards. And in this case, much like District 1, showing the awards that they received, our White Mills facility received the Treatment Plant of the Year Award through the Kentucky Operators Association. And both of our plants received this year, as they have in the past several years, AWOP, which is an Area-Wide Optimization Program certification from the state of Kentucky, which basically says that we've gone above and beyond what's necessary according to the regs. So we're proud of those accomplishments. And then just wanted to share some of our community involvement over the past year. We have a lovely young lady in the office, Kelly Lee, who works closely with the schools in the area as well as other community organizations to scheduling opportunities for the district to go out and show or tell what the district does. So she's scheduled plant tours, and we've had local schools that come to our treatment plants. We show them around, show them the process of water treatment, lets the students understand how water gets from the source to their homes. We've had some of our field crews that visit schools for career days. It gives the students opportunity to talk to the guys and gals that are out in the field doing the work, lets them see equipment firsthand. We've also participated in some field days, providing our water station to let the kids have cold, refreshing water during their field events. And then if you look at the picture there in the center, you'll see that we have a new mascot that was born this past year. So he's a little less than a year old, but that is Melton. And if you're trying to figure out what Melton is a melting ice cube. So Kelly takes Melton to the schools with her, and they have an absolute ball and have a great time, and the kids have a great time too. So kudos to Kelly for that. And one of the initiatives specific that she's been working on this past year is a hydration campaign with Lakewood Elementary School. And this has given her the opportunity to take information to the students, take information to the teachers, helps kids understand the importance of water protection, helps them understand the importance of water has on good health, and it allows us to show kids what we do in this industry, hopefully getting some of them interested and kind of actually use it as a recruitment tool. So these are the things that we've done, been working on this past year as far as community, and that's our Melton there. And I think Melton's going to try to do a little dance for us. But anyway, that concludes our presentation. We have to answer any questions that y'all may have.
Shaun?
Yes, sorry.
Please.
That project, Miracle Mile project,
Yes.
that's getting ready to take off. Does that follow the road down through that 31W?
It does, yes.
On which side of the road?
It's on the side that Lowe's is on.
Okay. Okay. And one other question. How long has the district been connected to the Louisville water system?
I think we're on our third year.
Third year?
And contractually, the amount that we purchase increases each year up until next year where it maxes out. We will contractually obligated next year to buy 1 million gallons per day. But right now we have the ability to take up to 2 million per day. And then there are plans in place that for future growth, if necessary, we have a site already purchased where we can build a second pump station. Once that infrastructure is in place, we can go up to 10 million gallons per day.
10 million.
Yes, and of course that's going to require infrastructure improvements on Louisville's side, but they're, I'm going to say obligated, but they will do what's necessary to get us the water.
What's the typical amount of water used one day in the District 1 system?
In our system right now, this time of the year, we're about 6.5 million a day.
6.5
Yeah,
million.
and in summertime now, we'll push up there quite a bit more.
But our contract with Louisville is 1 million per day.
Starting next year, it will be 1 million per day, yes.
Okay, and now if I remember correctly, where's the connector? Is that somewhere out in the Lebanon Junction area?
It's on 434. We call it Colesburg Pump Station, but
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
it's just on this side of the river.
Gotcha, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Shaun, I just like to not ask a question, but just express my appreciation for your provision currently for our water needs and your planning toward the future and your active work to accomplish what needs to be done to take us into the future as we grow. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for all your hard work. The downtown tank, did you say, are we just going, we'll have one new one that will replace those 2 old ones? Is that the plan?
Yes, exactly. One new composite style tank will replace 2 tanks that'll be the same volume, same pressure. But part of the reason for that 12-inch main in addition to the tank will be to reinforce some of the area where the other, to take up where the other tank is currently.
Okay. Just because we're talking about all this, how many millions of gallons a day, how much comes out of the White Mills, that spring at White Mills?
Well, out of the spring, that varies from day to day as well. Our capacity at that plant, capacity to treat, is 8.1 million per day. That's what we have the capacity to treat. The spring has been rated at anywhere from 15 million, which I think is an average daily, but depending on rainfall, I mean, that number goes significantly higher.
I think without a doubt, we've heard 2 of the most detailed and informative reports from the water districts today, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I do too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Any other comments, thoughts? We appreciate the great job. We appreciate the great job by both water districts. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item 3, which is department and elected office reports. First up, we have the Hardin County Coroner, Dr. Bill Lee.
Afternoon, Judge and members of the court.
Good afternoon.
We have our yearly report today. It's for calendar year 2019, and the first page, I know you can't read it out in the audience, but all of you have your packet before you. That's the forward. I like to always include that prior to giving the numbers, and just talking about our caseload continues to increase in Hardin County, I guess, as the population goes up and so forth. And I'd like to compliment the staff in Hardin County. You've heard me say it many times. We're blessed to have the departments we have. I work with probably 90% of the departments at one time or another. In fact, Virginia, I think we've been dealing with you quite a bit here lately, and all our law enforcement's and one of our representatives back here, Sheriff Ward. We're blessed with the law enforcement that we have in the state, several city departments, and CID out at Fort Knox. It makes my job a lot easier having all these people, kind of a teamwork thing, and just toot our own horn a little bit. 4 of our staff this past year passed about a 4-hour national certification exam that gives us diplomate status in the American Board of Medical Legal Death Investigators. And I think of the 400 or so coroners and deputy coroners in the state of Kentucky, there's probably not more than 15 that have that status, have taken that test and passed it, and we have 4 in our county. I think Fayette County may have that many, but probably not more than 15 in the entire state, and we got 4 that, so I'm proud of the staff. And again, the number of years, I think we've got about 130 years experience in our, in Hardin County that when it comes to death investigation. So I don't want to get the big head and think we know it all, because I definitely know we don't know it all, but we are still learning though. Well, let's get into the numbers, and see our total cases there, 821 for the year 2019. And the breakdown is to the manner of death: accidents 37, homicide 6. And as you all know, most of our cases are naturals. It says 755, 19 suicides. There's 1 undetermined that I don't know if it'll ever be determined, based on the toxicology. And we have 1 that's still pending. You see the bottom there. It's still waiting on some finalized toxicology. It had to have some special testing from the State Medical Examiner's Office. That still waiting on the results on that. And those of you who like the pictures, you see the pie graph with the, again, that natural death category in the large green area, the 92%. And again, those natural deaths can take a lot of time ruling out homicides a lot of times. So we still do have to investigate those. If you break down the accidents, 39 accidents, and you see the blue color, the 64, most of our accidental deaths were overdoses, which surprised me. I thought our motor vehicle, you know, the car accidents and so forth would be our number one accidental death category, but you see it's 31% and the overdose is 64%. And the overdose just keeps on going, guys. I don't know where we're headed, but it's not good. Next category, homicides. We had 6 for the year, and let's see, I guess 83%. I'm not sure what that totals out to. 83% were the gunshots, and the others were strangulations. And suicide breakdown, 19 in the year. Gunshots, 68%, and 32% hang. So seem like our hangings are a little bit more than what they've been in the past. Next slide just shows the breakdown of deaths, the drug deaths, that is, not the total deaths, but just the drug deaths according to demographics. And you see the highest drug overdose level is the 30 to 39 year, you know, that decade of age, and 14 out of the total cases, and 21 the race, white versus 2 Hispanics, 1 African American, genders, and the males 15 and the females 9 on the drugs. And the next slide will show the most frequent drugs in our drug-related deaths. See, the bottom goes all the way over to 10. That's fentanyl, and most of our drug deaths are not just a single drug, but multiple. You might have 2 or 3 drugs, but fentanyl is the number one, and more often. And so when you look on the next picture, the pie chart, the next slide, got that one. Yeah, there you go. The meth and the, what would you call that, pink, and then the fentanyl and the green. So those are the 2 biggest categories of drugs that we see causing death in Hardin County. Next slide just shows our total years. You've heard me say this is one of my favorite slides, just to see the total climb. Now you see we did slip a little bit from last year. Last year our all-time high of 840, and we're down to 821 last year, 2019. And I think what we started off with a bang. I don't mean literally a bang this year, but January we had 90 cases. That's almost 3 a day starting this year, but that'll be on our next report, so we'll skip that. Next slide just shows kind of a busy slide, just shows the different categories from the left, the autopsies, the bequeathals, the big tall columns, and the cremation. Then you get into county cremations, and then transport with deceased bodies by EMS, and then transport by the coroner. So just kind of going over those cremations. I look at those numbers, 371. I look back about 20 years ago, we were like in the 70s and 80s as far as total cremation for a whole year. And look at that number. People are just going through cremations more than the conventional burials and funerals and so forth. I guess the cost is a factor, I'm sure, and other factors too. But bequeathals, I think I mentioned this maybe our last bi-monthly report. The bequeathals I had always thought would be increasing more, and this past year they did double from the previous 2 years, 8. And I think the University of Kentucky is no longer accepting body donations, but University of Cincinnati, we've had 1 or 2 go up there. That and U of L varies quite a bit. So autopsies, that first column, the 24, and the last 2 years, 26 and 29. So then when you go back 20 years and look at our autopsy numbers, we were doing like about 50 and 60 autopsies per year, and now we're down in the 20s. And I think part of that's just the more technology, the more, and as I mentioned a while ago, the teamwork with law enforcement, investigations of the medical examiner's office. People are just smarter now than, just trained more professional now than we were 20 years ago. So maybe we can figure things out on our own without having to go to Louisville for an autopsy to figure out why they died. So it saves a little money that way. And then those last 2 or 3 columns to the right pertaining to, well, cremations is the county indigent program. It's dropped from last year, or the year before, 6 down to 2 this past year, which is, we're trying to work some things out to where people don't abuse our system, and sometimes they want the county to cover everything. There are legitimate times when the county has to take care of an indigent situation, but there is some abuse that is attempted, unfortunately. The last 2 columns, the emergency EMS transport, you see when their numbers are dropping down from last couple of years down to 29 last year, and our coroner transport increased to 79. So we're trying to eliminate the EMS from transporting deceased victims from a residence or a highway that ties up. Jamie here. Yep. Appreciate what you guys do for us, but I'm trying to get them out of the hauling business, so to speak. And I mean, if we have a decomp body or somebody's been dead for several hours and the smells that don't want to be gross here, but it ties their trucks up for decontamination for a while. It takes their 2 EMTs or paramedics out of service for a while. So the less they have to transport for us, the better it is. I don't know how many dollars that's saving the county because they're up in the hundreds of dollars, I guess, in the average transport, aren't you, when you're making the calls? But I appreciate the help they are to us. Next slide, just a couple more slides. Residency of the decedents in Hardin County, and you've heard me say this before, with E-Town being the bigger population, we got the hospital, the trauma center, we have the more nursing homes. It says 46% of our deaths they die in Elizabethtown. Again, this is a little bit deceiving. You've heard me say this before too, that you can be out on Youravich Creek Road in the east end of the county, but it's still an E-Town address. So when I put down on the death certificate at E-Town, it's the mailing address, and it's not really in E-Town, but it's so some skewed numbers perhaps when we say 377 deaths occurred in E-Town. A little questionable. And then the residency of outside of the county has a breakdown of, you see Meade County 25 cases, LaRue 24, and then Nelson 10 in that county. These are where transports from our neighboring counties come to our hospital usually and die at Hardin Memorial. So as you know, the statutes say it's the county where the person dies that the coroner works it. Like if we send by EMS a car wreck victim up to Louisville and die up there, it's a Jefferson County case, even though the incident happened here. And off to the right, the small numbers are out of state. And these are typically car accidents where they're pronounced dead out on the highway. You see one from Ohio, one from Missouri, one from Texas. Last slide. Well, no, there's 2 slides, I'm sorry. Age and gender on the next one. And guys, looks like we live, let's see, who outlives who up until about age 80. Looks like the males die more than, and then the females start dying off after the decade of the 80s, don't they? So it means us guys are already gone, I guess, by then. Just an interesting slide there.
They live longer because we're gone, right?
What was that? The last slide. This cases by race. Most of our deaths are Caucasian, and you see just by the decade. And we are keeping stats on gestation, working with the health department. They're wanting some statistics and the child fatality laws that have been changed. We're working with state agencies and the stillborns. That's that first column, gestation of 9 weeks to 39 weeks. And again, that's mostly Caucasian deaths there. But down at about the 60-year period, and you see the higher levels of African American there second after the Caucasian. So just interesting slide, just showing something about the races, Hispanic, Korean, Asian, and so forth. I guess that's the slide at the end of it. Any questions I could answer for you, Judge?
Over 10 years, you've doubled your cases then?
Yes, sir. Yeah, more than 10, more than double. And I don't know, again, we're staying pretty busy, but again, all the help, I think, just working, you're former law enforcement, you know how it is, the things we get into. We just got good teamwork in Hardin County. I'm blessed to have folks that make our job a lot easier, even though the numbers have increased tremendously. We've got good help, and I feel like we make good decisions. I'm sure we make some mistakes, but But, again, I appreciate everybody's help, all the Hardin County Judge. That's very, very good. Anybody else? Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill.
We'll move on to the Hardin County Sheriff's Report. Sheriff John Ward.
Doc's a hard act to follow. We're very fortunate in Hardin County to have the best coroner in the state. Good afternoon, Judge, members of the court, county clerk, county attorney, and everyone else. The following is the sheriff's report for December 2019 and 2020. In the law enforcement category, arrest 417, citations 644, warrants 350, civil processes served 1323, complaint calls 876, accidents investigated 68, criminal cases 80, other activities 4,136, school safety checks 780, violation warrants 258, and 3,098 attempts to serve. Business office operations, record checks 86, carrying concealed deadly weapon permits 297, vehicle inspections 1,194. Court transportation, 533 adults transported to court, 29 juveniles, and 170 in-state transports. Also, regarding our taxes, property taxes, we billed out in excess of $71 million, and to date, we've collected 97.22%. So that's a little above average. We've got an outstanding balance of taxes due of 1.9, and I want to, for the people listening, just remind everyone, April 15th is the last day to pay your taxes in the sheriff's office, and second notices have been mailed. Also, before I close, if you notice, we've got a new format on our report this time. Woody Will, who prepared this report for many years, Woody went to his heavenly home back in December, just before Christmas. He'd served at the sheriff's office for 15 years and had made this report the entire time he was at the sheriff's office. So we felt in honor of Woody and his memory that we would not use his report and change it up this time, but that's all I have. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you for Sheriff Ward. Thanks, Sheriff. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Next, we'll hear from Ms. Teri Bennett, the Chief Financial Officer for the Sheriff's Office, the budget report.
Good afternoon, Judge and members of Fiscal Court. I know you have been sent our budget and our balance sheet, and we are in a new budget, 2020, and our budget for 2020 was approved at $4,050,000, and for the month of January, we only spent $200,377, and if you notice, that is a little shy of what we normally spend. Half of our payroll was sent back to 2019 because it covered the last 2 months of 2019, so we were only charged out half of our payroll for the month of January for the year. For the year, half of that went back to 2019, half of it to 2020. So we only spent about 4.33% of our budget for 2020, which is good so far because of that. And if you'll look at our balance sheet, you'll see that for the month of February, actually, we sent to the state $245,196.92. That was for fees. And if you'll look on down to our balance, probably for the last time this year until November or December, you'll see we are in the positive amount of $58,702 because most of we have steady fees coming in all year, but the majority of our big bulk of our fees comes in at tax time in November and December. So, anyone have any questions for me?
All right. As always, we appreciate the great work.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys.
Thanks. And next, we'll hear from the Hardin County Clerk, Ms. Debbie Donnelly.
Yes. I'll give, you have copies of my fees and commissions report. So for December, I'll compare December with 19 with December 18. We collected $13,216.78 more in 2019 than we did in 18, which was a grand total of $2,780,997.47. And then in 2020, this month, January, we collected for a subtotal $43,694.19 more. So that gave us a total of $250,540.21. So we were up for December and we were up for January. So we hope to continue that. That's all I have unless you all have some questions.
Good trend.
Thank you.
Yep. Any questions for Ms. Donnelly? All right. We'll move on to item 4 then, which is ordinance, agreements, and resolutions. We have one to approve today. It's first reading of the amendment number 3 to our budget ordinance for fiscal year 1920. It's ordinance number 318-3, series 2019. Was included in your packet. It's essentially a number of fees, insurance reimbursements, and in the case of animal control, donations that's been received that has exceeded what was originally budgeted. The total is $123,404.62, and motion for first reading would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. King, second by Mr. Thompson. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Donnelly.
Doug Goodman,
Yes.
Boone.
Yes.
Clem,
Yes.
Wiseman,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Judge Barry,
Yes.
Easter.
Yes.
And item number 5 is the consent agenda. It's items that were included in your packet that was distributed electronically on Friday. Are there any corrections that need to be made?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Doug Goodman, second by Ms. Boone. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Donnelly.
Boone.
Yes.
Clem.
Yes.
Wiseman,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Judge Barry,
Yes.
Easter,
Yes.
Doug Goodman.
Yes.
We'll start around the table with the magistrates today with Mr. Easter.
I don't have anything, Judge. Thank you.
Mr. Doug Goodman.
We come up with anything on the second amendment, sanctuary county? I know the resource committee met on that, or?
We did not recommend anything on that. We did not feel that was under our jurisdiction.
Anything else?
That closed mine, Judge. Thank you.
Ms. Boone?
I just want to acknowledge a group that's here with us today. Julie Cantwell and some of her associates, all dressed appropriately in green. I think they thought they would get to talk to us, but since we don't open it up for public comment, I will just say I think they're here to talk a little, to tell us about House Bill, what do we have? The House Bill that passed the medical cannabis. And we know, we've heard from this group many times. They've been here to tell the story, and they've worked very hard to get this bill passed. So I want to say congratulations on that. I know it still has to go through the Senate, but I believe you feel pretty positive, and the message you'd like to get out is maybe contact who you know in the Senate to work on this. Is that right? And we heard again from Dr. Lee today, 64% are overdoses, but I don't believe any of those were from medical cannabis, right, Dr. Lee? And as we, or I see, I don't know that the rest of the court is in agreement, but we see this as an off-road from the opioid crisis, not leading to it, but something to help with that. And so congratulations on your hard work. And hope things move forward.
I would like to add to Magistrate Boone's comment to that group, and I think you went in the right direction, working with your legislators, doing what you need to do at that level, because it can't be done at this level. So I just want to commend you for working with your legislators to get as far as you have. Thank you.
Good job.
Anything else, Ms. Boone?
No, I think that's all from me.
All right, Mr. Clem.
Yes, Judge, as Lisa alluded to last Tuesday, we had a committee meeting, Resources Community Support meeting. Had what I thought was a very, very good meeting. We had almost the whole fiscal court there. I think there was only two that weren't there. We had good representation from our community, and we had a process that should be an example going forward about how to address issues. We sat around a table and we had a civil conversation, and we had, I think, an understanding from each party that was represented where we were coming from. And there were two resolutions that were submitted, and neither were moved forward. So today, I presented one of those resolutions. Today, I'd like to bring forward a resolution, and the sole purpose of this resolution is to have a collective response to all resolutions that come before this court. And basically, the resolution states that be it resolved that all resolutions that come before this body are responded to as follows. Whereas the U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land, whereas the U.S. Constitution includes 27 ratified amendments enumerated as follows. And in this resolution, not only are they enumerated, but they're also summarized. And not only the Second Amendment, but all 27 amendments that are contained within the Constitution. My resolution ends with the comment that whereas the Kentucky Constitution prescribes an oath of office to be administered to Hardin County Fiscal Court members, and whereas Hardin County Fiscal Court members last swore their oath on December 11, 2018 to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, therefore be it resolved the members of the Hardin County Fiscal Court reaffirm their oath of office to support the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So help us God. And I move, Judge, that this resolution be approved.
There's a motion by Mr. Clem,
Second.
second by Mr. Doug Goodman. Any discussion?
Judge, I have a little bit to say about it. In its present form, I'm going to vote no, mainly because our process over the years has been everything goes to committee, and it's approved by committee, and then it's presented to county attorney if it needs to, or it comes before fiscal court, either way. None of that was done. I happened to be there at the meeting, and I think it was informative, and there was a lot of people that gave good talks on their side, on both sides. But if I remember correctly, I have not seen this resolution, that Mr. Clem has. This is first I've heard of it in its format. So, number one, nothing was presented to court to review. All of us that sit on committees, everything we do, we take minutes. And if you look at the minutes of today from the resources support, none of that was done. What I remember correctly is that Mr. Clem had something that he had been working on, and at the end of the meeting, he passed that document to you, for you to review, and for the county attorney's approval. I haven't heard any of that, seen any of that, so I'm going to vote no until that process is done, like everything else that we do.
Judge, could I respond?
Go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to know which committee then should it come in front of. I was told it comes before the Resources Community Support. That's what we did. And so what committee is the proper committee to bring it before then?
I don't think he's saying that it wasn't the proper committee. I think he says that in our committee, what happened is that it was given to the judge to give to the county attorney, and that we haven't heard back.
Well, and I remember that I had 12 copies with me, and I offered them to everyone in the room that wanted to see it, and I think only one magistrate, Magistrate King, took a copy. So it was available if anybody wanted to see it. But I don't want to belabor that and argue that. That's not the issue. I was just trying to bring forth a resolution that could collectively speak to the issues, not only the Second Amendment, but every other issue that comes before the court that involves the amendments and our obligation. It's almost like reaffirming your vows, your wedding vows. You believe what you believe. You love your spouse, but you just reaffirm it, and that's basically all this is. It's just reaffirming our obligation to the process. I personally appreciate what's happened because it's caused me to dig deeper into the Constitution, deeper into the amendments, to understand it more, and I've kind of forgotten it since the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. So I've kind of had a refresher course on this, but it was available for anyone that wanted to see it.
I'd comment that, like Mr. Easter, I'll be voting no today, based on that we don't need to reaffirm that. If we were going to reaffirm it, like the example you use of the wedding vows, I would suggest that perhaps we all take the oath again, if that's what we need to do to reaffirm it. But we've taken the oath. It's a matter of record. In fact, I distributed copies of those records to you a couple of meetings ago, in case you had misplaced perhaps the ones that you did in December 18. But it's redundant. There's no reason to do it again.
I think it's symbolic, but I think it's a step in the right direction. I told you I'd support it. I'll support Magistrate Clem. I think he done a great job on it.
Any other comments today?
Yes. I understand where Mr. Easter's coming from. What I hear you saying is that you were waiting on response from the county attorney with whatever information the judge wanted to attach to it.
Let me clarify that. No.
Okay.
I know that's the process. I also know that it goes before the committee, that it's given to the chair, and the committee and those there discuss it in its full length. That's what I'm saying did not occur. I was not waiting on,
Okay.
because it didn't go through the committee, I didn't think it would go any further. And normally, what most of us do on committee reports, if it's lengthy or it's a resolution or whatever, it goes in your box out there so you have an opportunity to look at it if you couldn't attend the meeting. The other thing I look at, if it would have passed committee, then it wouldn't have been on the agenda. It's not on the agenda. It's not in the minutes of Mrs. Boone's report either. So I'm just saying there's a process that needs to be done. Let's do it right for everything we do.
I believe that the committee meeting didn't you state that it wasn't proper to come from your committee, but that if any magistrate wanted to propose a resolution in court, that they had that opportunity. Is that not correct?
I think that's correct.
Mr. King, you have...
Yeah. I'm going to vote no. The reason I'm going to vote no, and I'm going to beat around the bush here, this amendment, or not amendment, this issue does not affect the operation of Hardin County. We have no authority in this arena. We have no authority in the arena of medical marijuana. We can't approve medical marijuana in Hardin County. So therefore, they did exactly what they should have done. As you mentioned, they went to the state legislators. They got done what they wanted to get done through the state legislature, which is the proper process. This Second Amendment, man, I support the Second Amendment. Totally. The Second Amendment, we have no authority to deal in that arena as a fiscal court. And Mr. Goodman pointed out, yep, this is just something that we would do as, what was the word you used, Doug?
Symbolic.
As a symbol. Do we as a fiscal court need to begin dealing with symbolic gestures.
Well, we've done it for basketball, teams, and,
Okay?
what authority do we have over that? Nothing.
You know, I agree with everything everybody says.
Yeah.
I think we all agree on the subject. We
Absolutely.
just disagree on how we're going to say it.
Exactly.
And that was the purpose of the resolution, is to how we make a statement, this is how we deal with resolutions. We don't deal with resolutions.
There you go.
We don't deal. So this is a statement saying, we support the Constitution, that's the way we deal with resolutions. It's dealt with. So that any future resolution that comes before us of this nature, we've already had our say publicly about it. We have a document on file that stipulates that. I mean, we don't disagree on this whole thing, folks. It's
We
just,
agree.
we just
But we-
can't agree on how to say it.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
I had intended to reserve some of my comments for when it came my turn, but I want to share with you that I have a strong commitment to the Second Amendment, as I do every single amendment in our Constitution. I swore an oath, and before I served as magistrate in Hardin County, I'd never sworn such an oath to our Constitution, but as a citizen, born into citizenship, I believed in and have always held in high esteem our Constitution as being the most effective legal document that could exist in the world. I still feel very much that way. I don't think that there is anything that needs to be done other than to uphold the Constitution. I have sworn that oath that I will protect and defend it. I will, with every breath that I have in myself. I do not believe that any such act as this strengthens our confidence in the Constitution. In some ways, I think it may weaken public confidence in the Constitution. I have many constituents, several, who desire this to be what we do, pass a resolution specifically for the Second Amendment. I've been told that I would be a hero for the cause if I would put it forward. I need to tell you that I want to be a hero for our Constitution, if I'm a hero for anything, and for our process as long as it is legal and within the Constitution. Our oath that we took was legal and the right process and was within the Constitution. And I don't believe in any way I need to add anything to that other than to perform the oath that I have sworn to. I intend to do that. If need be, for the benefit of those who may come, with any resolution that might apply to our Constitution at the local level, which we have no authority over, I would be willing again to swear to that oath on a daily basis or at every meeting that we have. But once you've done it, you've done it. And that is my position on it. I know that does not please many of those people that I really love, appreciate, and care for. And don't play politics. I simply do what I believe is right. And my position on this would be a no vote.
Anyone else like to comment?
I'm just going to answer Judge ditto to what everybody said. I believe everything that has been said today, but I'm still going to be like E.G., vote no.
I hope you don't take this as a play in politics, E.G. But anyway, Judge, I'll call the question.
Any other comments?
One more comment. I want it to be known that a no vote to this does not in any way reflect my lack of support for the Constitution. I want you to know that I fully support it. I've taken that oath.
All right. If there's no one else, Ms. Donnelly?
Clem,
Yes.
Wiseman,
No.
Thompson,
No.
King,
No.
Judge Barry,
No.
Easter,
No.
Doug Goodman,
Yes.
Boone.
No.
Anything else, Mr. Clem?
Please don't drink and drive and don't text and drive.
Mr. Wiseman?
I have nothing, Judge.
Mr. Thompson?
I do have some comments that I want to share. Just recently, I believe it was the 20th, last Thursday, was local government legislative day in Frankfort, and I do my very best to get there and contact our legislators who serve us in Frankfurt, and was able to either directly or indirectly contact the 6 representatives that represent Hardin County, that include Russ Weber, Nancy Tate, Dean Scamore, Bart Rowland, Samara Heverin, and Jim Duplessis, and had communications with them that I'll share. Our Senator Parrott, Dennis, was ill and was not there that day, but I had communications with them regarding the Second Amendment and their stand on it. Generally, every one of them are completely in support of defending the Second Amendment and have indicated that that's what they would do, and that they would support a local decision that was made in regards to the issue of Second Amendment sanctuary. I appreciate that, because they are the ones who are charged with laws that will affect the application of our Constitution, not us. So I commend them, I appreciate them, and I appreciate their commitment to the Second Amendment rights and the Constitution. I'll also share with you that I was able to observe the House as they struggle with the medical marijuana issue, and there were many thoughts that were shared there. Several pointed out that there needed to be many, controls built into the approval of that would assure that it's properly carried out with the prescription by doctors, and then the prescription actually be filled by pharmacists, approved by the pharmacist. That didn't stop it from being passed, but I think there are still issues out there that you guys would be advised to address as far as how it will operate. I know that it will have some positive effect on various individuals, and you've gone the right way with it. I commend you. Continue to work toward the proper administration of it and the success of it, if it is to be enacted. And I urge you to do that. Very proud of our legislators, and proud of the fact that they're very responsive, at least they were for me, in that particular day, and had good contact with each of them. Thank you.
Mr. King?
Judge, I don't have anything.
Ms. Oldham, anything from your office?
I don't think.
Ms. Donnelly, anything else from your?
No, sir.
All right. The next meeting of Hardin County Fiscal Court is on the 10th of March, Tuesday afternoon at 3:30 in the afternoon here in the courtroom. If there's not anything else to come before us, a motion would be in order for us to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. King. Second by Mr. Wiseman. If there's no objection, hearing none, we stand adjourned.